Let's discuss something very tender, my dear. Sometimes disappearing is not running away. Sometimes it is the only way your soul knows how to come back home to itself. There are moments when you no longer want to explain, no longer want to appear, no longer want to answer every message, no longer want to prove that you are fine, no longer want to keep smiling in rooms where your spirit has been quietly shrinking. And this does not always mean you hate the world. It does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you are dramatic or selfish or difficult. Sometimes it simply means that you have been available everywhere except within yourself. You have been showing up for expectations, for people's moods, for old roles, for the need to be understood, for the pressure to respond quickly, for the habit of proving that you are still kind, still strong, still useful, still lovable. And one day, something inside you whispers, I am tired. I need to return. Sometimes disappearing is not running away. Sometimes it is the sacred way you come back home to yourself. Now, let us be very clear, darling, because there is a difference between disappearing from pain and disappearing for healing. Some people vanish because they are wounded and want someone to chase them. Some people withdraw because they do not want to face the truth. Some people cut everything off in panic and call it peace, but the body is still shaking inside. That is not the kind of disappearing I am speaking of. Healing solitude has a different energy. It is calmer, more conscious. It does not say, I hate everyone. It says, I have been away from myself too long. It does not punish others with silence. It protects the inner life with quiet. It does not run from responsibility. It returns to the responsibility of caring for the forgotten places within. Disappear from the noise, but do not disappear from your own heart. When you disappear in a healing way, you are not abandoning life. You are leaving the noise for a while so you can hear what life has been saying inside you. You may turn down the volume of the outside world. Fewer explanations, fewer performances, fewer quick replies from a tired nervous system. Fewer places where you have to pretend you are lighter than you feel. And at first, this can feel strange. When the noise drops, you begin to hear what you have been avoiding. The sadness, the disappointment, the loneliness, the questions without answers, the exhaustion that has been living under the word I'm fine. But this is not a bad thing, my dear. Silence does not create the pain. Silence reveals what the noise has been covering. And when something is revealed, it can finally be loved. Loneliness at first can feel frightening. The mind may say, oh no, I am being left out. I am being forgotten. I am alone. But not all aloneness is abandonment. Sometimes aloneness is the quiet room where your soul begins to breathe again. Sometimes it is the place where you stop hearing everyone else's opinion loudly enough to remember your own. Sometimes it is where you discover that you have been so busy being chosen by the world that you forgot to choose yourself. Sit gently with the quiet. Do not rush to fill it. Do not immediately reach for the phone just because the silence touches an old wound. Put one hand on your heart and say, I am here with me. That sentence is small, but it can become a doorway. Being alone with love is very different from being abandoned. And in that space, my dear, begin to understand your own behavior. Not with cruelty, not with self-attack, not by saying, why am I like this? As if you are a problem. Ask with tenderness. Why do I try so hard to please? Why does silence frighten me? Why do I become jealous when someone else is chosen? Why do I blame myself so quickly? Why do I need others to confirm my worth before I can rest? These questions are not punishments. They are lamps. They help you see the wound beneath the habit. Because behavior is rarely random, over-explaining may be the language of a child who was never believed. People-pleasing may be the language of someone who learned that love must be earned. Jealousy may be the language of a heart that fears being replaced. Self-blame may be the language of someone who once believed control could prevent pain. When you understand the wound, you can stop hating the behavior and begin healing the root. Disappearing, when done with love, also helps you reclaim scattered energy. Think of how much of yourself you leave in little places all day, checking who has seen your message, wondering who is thinking what, comparing your life to someone else's picture, explaining yourself to people who have already decided not to understand, replaying conversations, watching other people live and forgetting to live your own. Oh, darling, no wonder you feel tired. Your energy has been scattered like little pieces of paper in the wind. A healing retreat, even a small one, gathers you back. It says, "Let me call myself home from comparison. Let me call myself home from over-explaining. Let me call myself home from chasing approval. Let me call myself home from rooms where I keep abandoning my own truth." This is not escape, this is restoration. And you do not need to feel guilty for needing quiet. You are allowed to be unavailable to the world while you are becoming available to yourself. Some people may be used to the version of you who answers quickly, helps immediately, smiles even when tired, says yes even when empty, and keeps the peace by swallowing her own needs. When you begin to step back, they may not understand. They may feel uncomfortable. They may ask, "What happened to you?" But sometimes what happened is that you finally heard yourself. Sometimes what happened is that your body said, "No more giving from emptiness." Sometimes what happened is that your soul became brave enough to choose quiet over performance. Other people's discomfort does not automatically mean your need for rest is wrong. You are allowed to pause without proving that you deserve the pause. Quiet is not selfish. It can be deeply loving. If you keep giving while you are empty, the giving begins to change. It becomes mixed with resentment, fatigue, hidden anger, and the silent hope that someone will finally notice how much you are carrying. That is not free love. That is exhausted love. Quiet brings you back to the source so that when you return with truth, not bitterness. You can give because you choose to, not because you are afraid of being unloved. You can respond because you have space, not because panic is pushing your fingers across the screen. You can show up because your heart is present, not because guilt is dragging you by the hand. Sometimes stepping back is how you save the love from becoming contaminated by exhaustion. Now, disappearing does not have to be dramatic. You do not need to announce a grand transformation to everyone you know. You do not need to disappear for months unless your life truly calls for that. Sometimes it is one evening without noise, one Sunday without explaining, 1 hour with your journal, one walk without your phone, one boundary around your energy, one day where you do not check the old place, one breath before replying. Healing often begins in these little withdrawals from chaos. You are not leaving the world forever. You are learning how to be in the world without losing yourself in it. So if your soul is asking for quiet, listen. Do not make it another reason to criticize yourself. Do not say, "I am antisocial. I am failing. I should be more available." Say, "Perhaps I am being called inward." And when you go inward, go with love. Do not disappear into self-punishment. Do not disappear into old stories. Do not disappear into endless scrolling and call it rest. Disappear into presence, into breath, into truth, into the body, into the little questions that bring you home, into the soft sentence, "What do I need that I have been ignoring?" Let the quiet be a healing room, not another hiding place. This is the important part, my dear, because disappearing is only healing when you know what to do with the silence. It is not enough to leave the noise if you bring the same old cruelty into the quiet room. Many people step away from the world, but when they are finally alone, they begin attacking themselves. They replay every mistake. They compare their life with someone else's life. They open old wounds and call it reflection. They sit in the dark and say, "I am behind. I am too much. I should have known better. I always ruin things." And darling, that is not solitude. That is self-punishment with the lights turned off. The shadow is not meant to become another place where you abandon yourself. The shadow is the place where you finally sit beside yourself and say, "I am here now. I will not run from you. I will not hurt you for being human." The shadow is not here to destroy you. It is here to show you the parts of yourself that are still waiting for love. When you go quiet, you may meet the parts of you that were too inconvenient for the noisy world. The weak part, the angry part, the frightened part, the jealous part, the part that still remembers, the part that still misses someone, the part that still aches for an apology, the part that still wants to be chosen. Please do not push them away too quickly. They are not enemies. They are little rooms inside your heart that have been locked for a long time. And when they appear, do not say, "Oh, I should not feel this." Say, "Come here, darling. What do you need?" Ask the angry part, "What boundary was crossed?" Ask the jealous part, "What desire have you been afraid to admit?" Ask the frightened part, "What are you trying to protect me from?" Ask the grieving part, "What did you lose that no one has honored yet?" This is how darkness becomes reunion. You are no longer exiling pieces of yourself just because they do not look pretty. Healing in the shadows must be built on truth, not denial. Do not say, "I am fine," if you are not fine yet. Do not force yourself into positive sentences while the heart is still bleeding. A pretty affirmation placed over an unacknowledged wound can feel like a bandage over a thorn. The thorn is still there, and the body knows. So speak the truth softly. "I am hurting, and I will not abandon myself. I am afraid, and I am still here. I do not know the next step, and I can still breathe in this moment. I feel lonely, and I can sit with myself kindly." Truth does not have to be dramatic. It does not have to be harsh. Truth can be a warm lamp in a dark room. And once the truth is allowed to exist, the body stops using so much energy to hide it. I do not have to pretend I am healed in order to begin healing. This hidden season can become a little laboratory for the new self. I like that image because in a laboratory we observe, we experiment, we learn. We do not need everything to be perfect the first time. We simply ask, what happens if I do this differently? What happens if I do not answer from panic? What happens if I rest before I collapse? What happens if I stop checking who has seen me and begin asking whether I have seen myself? What happens if I feed my body with love instead of using food to punish or distract? What happens if I spend one evening without performing? My dear, when no one is watching, you discover who you are becoming. When no one praises you, do you still care for yourself? When no one applauds, do you still keep a promise? When no one confirms your worth, do you still speak to yourself as if you matter? This is where a deeper identity is built, not the identity that depends on being liked, noticed, validated, admired, or needed. A quieter identity, a rooted identity, one that says, even when no one sees me, I am still worth caring for. That is powerful. Many people only treat themselves well when someone else is watching. They perform healing, they perform confidence, they perform peace. But in the hidden season, you learn to live without the stage. You learn to wash the cup, make the bed, stretch the body, write the truth, take the walk, clean the room, and speak kindly to yourself because your life matters to you, not because someone is giving you a gold star. Your hidden season is not empty. It is where your new self is quietly being built. Do not make the rebuilding too complicated. You do not need to change your whole life overnight. Small, steady things are enough. Sleep a little better, eat a little more kindly, write down what you actually feel. Walk alone without needing the phone to rescue you from silence. Put your room in order, not to be perfect, but to give your nervous system a gentler place to land. Unfollow what disturbs your peace. Stop feeding the comparison that makes your own life feel small. Speak to the body with gratitude. Thank you, body, for carrying me even when I forgot to be kind. These little things do not look dramatic, but they create safety. And when the body feels safer, the soul begins to speak more clearly. In the quiet, you can reset your standards. Ask yourself, what do I no longer want to carry into the next chapter? Perhaps you no longer want to carry relationships that make you feel smaller than you are. Perhaps you no longer want to carry the habit of explaining yourself to people who enjoy misunderstanding you. Perhaps you no longer want to carry the role of the rescuer, the overgiver, the one who is always available but never truly held. Perhaps you no longer want to carry the pattern of choosing others before choosing your own heart. Let the questions come gently. You do not need to answer them all at once, but as you ask them, you begin drawing a line between the old life and the new one, not with anger, with love, with a soft but firm voice that says, I cannot take everything with me. Some things are too heavy for where I am going. And then, my dear, comes learning to love silence without believing you are being forgotten. Silence can feel strange at first, especially if your nervous system has been trained to live on noise. Notifications, opinions, conversations, reactions, praise, drama, urgency, constant stimulation. When all of that softens, the mind may panic and say, where did everyone go? Am I still important? Am I still loved? But silence is not always absence. Sometimes silence is the space where your own voice can finally be heard. When the world is too loud, you may mistake anxiety for intuition. You may mistake pressure for purpose. You may mistake other people's expectations for your own desire. But when you stay quiet long enough, the true voice begins to separate from the noise. It is usually not frantic. It does not insult you. It does not rush you into self-abandonment. It comes like a small, steady light. Just because you are not being seen does not mean you are not becoming. Remember this: seeds grow in dark soil. Babies form in hidden places. Wounds heal under the skin long before the surface looks different. There are seasons of your life that are deeply important and have no audience at all. No one may clap for you. No one may understand why you are quiet. No one may see the little victories, the message you did not send, the boundary you kept, the night you cried and still spoke kindly to yourself, the morning you chose not to return to the old pattern. But life sees, your body sees, your inner child sees, and those unseen moments become the roots of the person you are becoming. Just because you are not being seen does not mean you are not becoming. When it is time to return, return quietly. Do not return to prove something. Do not return to announce, "Look at me, I am healed now." Healing does not need a parade. When you have truly met yourself, your presence changes without needing an advertisement. You speak a little less, but more truthfully. You choose more carefully. You no longer open the door to everything that once exhausted you. You do not react in the same old way. You do not explain yourself into pieces. You do not chase the rooms that once made you feel invisible. And people may feel the difference before you say anything. Peace has a language, darling. Boundaries have a language. Self-respect has a language. Your new energy will speak even when your mouth is quiet. Return quietly. Let your peace be the proof. And when you return, be wise about what you share. Not everything painful needs to be told immediately. Some wounds are still too open to be shown to the world. If you share while the wound is still bleeding, you may be asking the world to hold something that still needs the warmth of your own hands first. Protect what is still tender. Let the lesson digest. Let the grief become understanding. Let the anger become boundaries. Let the confusion become clarity. Then, one day, if it feels right, you can share from a steadier place, not to be rescued, not to be validated, not to reopen the wound for attention, but to offer a lamp to someone else who is walking through a similar darkness. There is a difference between sharing a wound and sharing wisdom. One is still asking to be held. The other has learned how to hold. You will not return as the same person, and that is a beautiful thing. You may look the same from the outside. Same face, same voice, same little habits perhaps. But inside, something is shifted. You are less willing to abandon yourself, less available for chaos, less hungry for approval that cost you your peace, less interested in being chosen by people who cannot choose themselves honestly. You may become quieter, and some people may call that distant. You may become clearer, and some people may call that difficult. You may become more boundaried, and some people may call that selfish. Let them have their words. You have your life. You know what it costs to return to yourself, and you do not need to hand that peace away just to be understood by everyone. The hidden season teaches many lessons. One is that being alone is not as frightening as losing yourself. Loneliness can ache, yes. We do not need to pretend it cannot. But living in places that make you unrecognizable to yourself is a deeper ache. Staying in rooms where you must shrink, silence your truth, laugh when you want to cry, give when you are empty, and accept what wounds you simply because you fear being alone. That is a loneliness with people around. Once you learn to sit with yourself, you do not choose just anything to avoid solitude. You become more selective, not because you think you are better than others, but because you finally understand that your own company is sacred. Being alone with yourself is safer than being surrounded by what makes you disappear. Another lesson is that your worth does not need to be updated every day by other people. You do not need a message to prove that you still matter. You do not need a compliment to prove that you are beautiful. You do not need a view, a like, a reply, an invitation, an apology, or a public recognition to prove that your soul has value. Of course, kindness feels lovely. Appreciation feels lovely. Being seen feels lovely. Receive it when it comes. But do not make it the charger for your entire existence. You are not a phone waiting for the world to plug you in. You are a living soul with a source within you. The hidden season teaches you to become a place of confirmation for yourself. You begin to say, I see me. I am here. I know what I am building, even if the world has not noticed yet. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: disappearing at the right time can save your soul. There are moments when staying is not loyalty, it is self-betrayal. There are moments when speaking is not honesty. It is over-explaining to people who have already chosen not to listen. There are moments when silence is not weakness, it is maturity. There are moments when withdrawal is not rejection of life. It is life protecting the most beautiful part of you from being spent in the wrong places. You did not disappear to be forgotten. You disappeared to remember yourself. You disappeared to hear your own voice again. You disappeared to let the old patterns lose their grip. You disappeared to become whole enough to return without begging the world to tell you who you are. I did not disappear to be forgotten. I disappeared to remember myself. And now, when you come back to the world, you no longer need the world to understand every detail of your healing. That is freedom. You do not need to explain why you needed space. You do not need to justify your quiet. You do not need to prove that your retreat was valid. You do not need to make everyone comfortable with your new boundaries. Some will understand, some will not. Some will miss the old version of you who was easier to access, easier to drain, easier to predict. Bless them and keep walking. You are not returning to become available to everything again. You are returning as someone who has learned the difference between love and self-abandonment, between connection and performance, between generosity and depletion, between silence and disappearing from yourself. Disappearing is not always running away. Sometimes it is a sacred journey, away from noise, into the shadows, back through the forgotten rooms of your own heart, toward a quieter truth. You step away. You meet the parts you once rejected. You learn to care for yourself without an audience. You let silence teach you the sound of your own intuition. You build little habits that make the body trust you again. You choose what will not enter the next chapter. You rest, you weep, you listen. You repair the relationship with yourself. And then, when life calls you outward again, you return with a heart that is not trying so hard to be chosen. A heart that is lighter, clearer, more honest, more rooted, more yours. May you remember, my dear, that you are allowed to step away. You are allowed to be quiet. You are allowed to stop performing. You are allowed to heal without explaining every detail. You are allowed to let some people wonder while you become well. Life is not asking you to disappear forever. Life is only inviting you to come home long enough to remember who you are. And once you remember, you can return to the world without handing yourself away at the door. So disappear if you must, but do it with love. Do not disappear to punish. Do not disappear to be chased. Do not disappear into self-hatred. Go quiet with tenderness. Heal deeply. Meet yourself honestly. Gather the pieces you scattered in places that could not hold you, and return as someone who no longer abandons herself. Return with peace in your chest, truth in your mouth, softness in your hands, and a quiet knowing in your soul. I am home within myself now. Be gentle with yourself, my dear. The quiet is not taking you away from life. It may be returning you to it. How long has it been since you truly felt free from that old story, my dear? How long has it been since your heart could think of that person, that mistake, that season, that closed door, without the body tightening as though it were happening all over again? Sometimes something ended many years ago, but inside us, it is still alive. A sentence someone said, a person who left, a mistake we keep punishing ourselves for, a version of ourselves who loved too much, waited too long, trusted the wrong thing, stayed in a room that did not love us well. And every time the memory returns, the body does not always know it is only a memory. The shoulders rise, the chest closes, the stomach tightens, the old ache speaks again. And we think, why am I still here? But darling, let us be gentle. You are not weak because something hurt you deeply. You are simply being invited now to stop carrying what has already completed its lesson. You cannot step into a new life while both hands are still holding the old one. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? And yet it can take us such a long time to understand. We say we want peace, but we keep holding the argument. We say we want love, but we keep holding the person who taught us to beg for it. We say we want freedom, but we keep holding the identity of the one who was wounded. And sometimes we do not even realize we are holding it. We just feel tired. We feel heavy. We feel as if life is moving, but something in us is standing still. My dear, letting go does not mean it did not matter. Letting go does not mean you were not hurt. Letting go does not mean you are pretending that the past was beautiful when it was not. Letting go means you stop allowing what has passed to keep using your present moment as a place to live. Let it go, put it down, and let life heal you in the place where you have been carrying too much. The past is over in the physical world. That moment is not happening right now. That person is not saying those words to you in this room. That door is not closing in front of you at this very second. That mistake is not being made again today. And yet the mind, when it is not trained with love, can play the same scene so many times that the body believes it is still in danger. The mind is like a little projector, and if we are not conscious, it will keep showing the old film on the wall of today. Then we wonder why we cannot breathe in the present. We are not living in the present. We are sitting in an old theater, watching an old story, paying for the ticket again and again with our peace. The past is over, my dear, but your freedom begins when your mind finally agrees. Now, I do not say this to rush you. Some people use spiritual ideas to skip over pain. They say, just let it go, as if the heart has an on and off switch, as if grief is a coat you can simply remove because someone told you to. No, darling, we do not bully the heart into freedom. We lead it there. We place a hand on the chest. We say, I know this mattered. I know this hurt. I know you thought life would look different. And then, very softly, we ask, are we ready to stop living there every day? Not because the past was nothing, but because your life is something. Your breath is something. Your future is something. The little joys that still want to find you are something, and they need space to enter. Holding on is not always love. Sometimes holding on is fear, wearing the costume of loyalty. We think, if I let this go, does it mean I never cared? Does it mean they get away with it? Does it mean I wasted my time? Does it mean I have to become someone I do not know how to be? And there it is, my dear. Sometimes we do not keep the past because it is beautiful. We keep it because it has become familiar. We know how to be sad in that way. We know how to tell that story. We know how to play that role. The abandoned one, the betrayed one, the one who was not chosen, the one who made the mistake, the one who almost had it. And when pain stays long enough, we may begin to confuse it with identity. But you are not your wound. You are not the worst thing that happened to you. You are not the person who left. You are not the door that closed. You are the life that remains. And carrying the past takes energy. Oh, it takes so much energy. You do not only remember it in the mind, you carry it in the shoulders, in the throat, in the belly, in the way you hesitate before trusting, in the way you scan new people for old dangers, in the way you punish yourself for needing love, in the way you refuse new joy because old grief still has a room in the house. A part of your life force is locked in a time and place that life itself has already left. And perhaps now life is standing a little further down the road, calling gently, "My dear, come here. There is more." But the old story says, stay, keep explaining, keep replaying, keep proving how much it hurt. So we must learn to speak to the old story with love, but not obedience. You are not betraying the past by healing. You are honoring your life by choosing to live again. And please, do not romanticize what wounded you. This is so important. The mind, when it misses something, can become a very selective storyteller. It remembers the soft morning, but not the nights you cried. It remembers the promise, but not the pattern. It remembers the way you felt wanted for a moment, but not the way you had to shrink yourself to keep that moment alive. It remembers the beautiful sentence, but not the emptiness that came after. And then you begin to think, maybe it was love. But darling, not everything intense is love. Sometimes it is the old wound being activated. Sometimes someone feels unforgettable because they kept touching the part of you that was afraid of abandonment. Sometimes a dream feels impossible to release, not because it still belongs to you, but because you invested so much of yourself into trying to make it work. Do not call it love if it asked you to abandon yourself. This does not mean you must hate the person, the place, the dream, or the version of yourself who believed in it. Hatred is still a chain. We are not trying to make a new prison. We are simply telling the truth with compassion. There were beautiful moments, and there were painful patterns. I loved deeply, and I also lost myself. I hoped sincerely, and I also ignored what my body knew. Truth is not cruelty. Truth is the clean water that washes illusion from the heart. When you can see the whole picture, you can stop clinging to one golden fragment and calling it destiny. You can bless what was real, learn from what hurt, and begin to walk forward without dragging the whole broken house behind you. Life moves. This is one of its great truths. Seasons change, bodies change, emotions change, relationships change, dreams change, identities change, the road changes. And when we try to force something that has ended to keep living in the same form, we do not preserve it. We hurt ourselves. A flower that has finished blooming is not wrong. Autumn is not a failure because it is not spring. A sunset is not a tragedy because the day is ending. Life has openings and closings, meetings and partings, blooming and fading, building and releasing. The wise person is not the one who never loses anything. The wise person learns when to hold with love and when to release with peace. Change is not life punishing you. Sometimes change is life making room for the next version of you. Imagine your life as a river, a beautiful river, always moving, always carrying you toward new bends, new light, new landscapes. But somewhere along the way, perhaps you became frightened and grabbed a rock or a branch or an old memory or a person or a plan that no longer had life in it. And you said, "This is safe. I will hold on here." But the water kept moving because water must move. And now your arms are tired. Your hands ache. Your body is cold. You are not safe, darling. You are exhausted from resisting the flow. And perhaps the river is not trying to destroy you. Perhaps it is trying to carry you home. When you fight what has changed, you spend so much life force trying to make the river run backward. You want the person to become who they used to be. You want the season to bloom again. You want the old version of yourself to get a different ending. You want yesterday to apologize before you allow tomorrow to arrive. And I understand. The heart wants completion. The heart wants meaning. The heart wants the story to make sense. But sometimes the meaning comes only after you stop demanding that the old chapter rewrite itself. Sometimes peace arrives when you finally say, "I may never receive the apology. I may never understand every reason. I may never get the ending I wanted, and still, I choose to release my life from this waiting room." Letting go does not mean being swept away unconsciously. It does not mean you become passive or careless. It means you relax your grip enough to let life take you to the next stretch of the river. You still have wisdom. You still have choice. You still have a heart. You still have boundaries. But you no longer use all your strength to argue with the movement of life. You stop saying, "It must be as it was." You begin saying, "I am willing to see what can be now." That is a sacred sentence. I am willing to see what can be now. Say it softly if you like. Let the body hear it. Let the old self hear it. Let the frightened hands begin to open. When you stop fighting the river, you may discover it was carrying you home. So take a breath now, my dear. Perhaps there is one thing you are ready to put down. Not the whole mountain today, just one stone, one old sentence, one old blame, one old fantasy, one old punishment, one old version of yourself you have been holding hostage in memory. Place it gently on the ground. You do not have to throw it. You do not have to be dramatic. Just put it down. Let life touch the space in your hands. Let healing enter the place where carrying used to be, and whisper, "I release what no longer belongs in my present. I allow life to heal me now." Good. That is enough for this moment. Letting go is not a single heroic act. It is a tender return to the present, again and again, until one day you realize you are no longer living in the old story. You are here. You are breathing. You are alive. And life is still waiting to love you forward. Well, my dear, perhaps it is time to ask yourself a very tender question. What are you still carrying that no longer belongs to the life you are becoming? Not everything you carry is meant to come with you. Some things were once necessary, or at least they seemed necessary at the time. A defense mechanism that helped you survive. A habit that made you feel safe. A story that explained why you were hurt. A role that gave you a sense of identity when everything else felt uncertain. And we must honor that. We do not need to hate the old ways. Some of them came to protect you when you did not yet know how to protect yourself with love. But darling, not everything that once protected you can walk with you into the next chapter. A heavy coat may be useful in winter, but if you keep wearing it in spring, you will suffer under the weight of something that has already served its season. There are burdens that do not always look like burdens at first. They may look like responsibility, loyalty, strength, caution, or even love. You may be carrying the role of the strong one, the one who never breaks, never needs, never rests, never asks. You may be carrying the role of the rescuer, the one who must fix everyone, soothe everyone, understand everyone, even when no one is asking how your own heart is doing. You may be carrying the role of the abandoned one, the one who expects people to leave and therefore holds on too tightly, or leaves first, or tests love until it becomes tired. You may be carrying the role of the one who must prove she is worthy, prove she is useful, prove she is good, prove she is not too much, prove she is not a burden. And my dear, these roles become so heavy for a heart that is trying to be free. You cannot receive a lighter life while insisting on carrying every old weight. So today, we are not only letting go of a person, a memory, or a painful event. We are letting go of the extra weight that grew around it, the shame, the self-blame, the need to replay it, the need to explain it to everyone, the need to make the past agree with you before you allow yourself to breathe. We are putting down the old identity that says, because this happened, I must always be this way. No, darling, that is not true. What happened may have shaped a part of you, but it does not own the whole of you. You are allowed to outgrow the survival pattern. You are allowed to be softer now. You are allowed to be less available for drama. You are allowed to stop answering every old fear as if it were a command from heaven. You are allowed to say, "Thank you for protecting me. I do not need to live this way anymore." And sometimes, when we grieve, we think we are only grieving the person who left, the dream that failed, the door that closed, the version of life that did not happen. But often, we are grieving ourselves. We are grieving the version of us who believed, the version who waited, the version who loved with an open heart, the version who imagined a future and placed so much of her tenderness inside that picture. We miss who we were before disappointment entered the room. We miss our innocence. We miss the part of us that thought, this time, it will be different. And when that story ends, it can feel as if we lost not only the outer thing, but also the person we were while hoping for it. So if you are grieving yourself, be very gentle. That younger version of you does not need judgment. She needs to be gathered back into your heart. But here is the beautiful truth. You are also becoming someone new. You are becoming someone who loves herself with more honesty. Someone who no longer begs for love in places that empty her. Someone who listens to the body when it whispers, "This does not feel safe." Someone who can choose peace before she has every answer. Someone who can set a boundary without writing a whole book to justify it. Someone who can let life love her in ways she never allowed before. Do you see, my dear? The loss is not the whole story. The leaving is not the whole story. The mistake is not the whole story. Something in you is being reborn, and if you build your whole life around what left, you may not notice what is arriving within you. Do not build your whole life around who left. Build your life around who you are becoming. This is not easy at first, because the mind likes to visit the old house. It knows where everything is in that house. It knows the room of regret, the chair of blame, the window where you look out and wonder why things happened the way they did. And sometimes you may find yourself there again. A song may bring it back. A place may touch the old ache. A certain sentence may open a little door in the heart, and suddenly you are remembering. Please do not make this a failure. Healing does not mean you never remember. Healing does not mean the memory disappears like smoke and never returns. Healing means the memory can visit without moving back into your home. It can knock on the door and you can say, "Ah, old pain, I see you, but today I do not live there anymore." Every time the memory returns, you have a chance to choose again. This is very important. You do not need to follow the memory all the way down the old road. You do not need to reread every message, replay every conversation, reopen every wound, and call it processing. Sometimes processing becomes another way to keep hurting ourselves. You can pause. You can breathe. You can place a hand on your heart and say, "This is an old feeling visiting. I can feel it without becoming it. I can remember without returning. I can honor what happened without letting it rule today." And then you put it down again, and again, and again, softer each time, less dramatically each time, with more love each time. Healing is not never remembering. Healing is remembering without moving back in. This is why letting go is not a single moment. It is a new way of living. It is what you do when the old thought appears in the morning and asks for your attention. It is what you do when your finger wants to check the old place, the old profile, the old message, the old wound. It is what you do when your mind wants to tell the same story in a way that makes you feel powerless again. It is what you do when the body reaches for familiar pain, because familiar pain feels more predictable than unfamiliar peace. Letting go becomes a practice of returning to the breath, returning to the body, returning to the present, returning to the truth that your life is happening now, not back there. And now, darling, is where your power lives. Freedom begins with very small decisions. Do not underestimate them. Not reading the old message again, not telling the same story for the 10th time today if it only opens the wound wider. Not calling a painful pattern destiny because it felt intense. Not making one loss into proof that you are unlovable. Not staying loyal to a version of yourself who was only trying to survive. These may seem like little things, but they are not little. They are the moments where you stop feeding the old life with the energy of your present. They are the moments where you choose to stop pouring your beautiful life force into something that cannot hold it anymore. And each time you do this, you are not becoming cold, you are becoming free. Peace is your natural right, my dear. You do not need permission from the past to be happy. You do not need the old person to understand everything before you are allowed to heal. You do not need the apology to arrive before you can sleep again. You do not need every unanswered question to be solved before you can open the curtains and let the morning in. Of course, closure can be beautiful when it comes. Understanding can be beautiful when it comes. But if you make your peace depend on someone else's awakening, you may wait too long outside the door of your own life. Sometimes peace begins when you say, I may not know why. I may not have every answer. I may not receive the words I wanted. And still, I choose to come back to myself. Peace is not what comes after every question is answered. Peace is what begins when you stop letting the old questions own you. And I know the mind will say, but if I let go, what was it all for? Oh, darling, the lessons remain. The love you gave remains as proof of your capacity. The wisdom remains. The tenderness remains. The boundaries you learned remain. The deeper relationship with yourself remains. Letting go does not erase meaning. It removes the weight. Think of a book you have finished reading. You do not need to carry it in your arms every day to prove that it mattered. You can place it on the shelf. You can remember what it taught you. You can be grateful for the pages that awaken something in you and still not live inside that story forever. Some chapters are meant to be honored, not repeated. Some endings are meant to be accepted, not argued with until they become beginnings again. Life cannot fully hold you when your hands are wrapped around old pain, not because life is unkind, but because your hands are occupied. If your arms are full of guilt, blame, regret, old fantasies, and stories that keep injuring you, how can you receive the small gifts of today? The warm cup, the kind face, the new idea, the breath, the unexpected opening, the quiet morning, the chance to begin again. Life is here now, but the past says, look at me. Love is here now, but the old wound says, no, explain this first. Your next breath is here now, but the mind says, let us go back. So very gently, we begin to open the hands. Not all at once if that feels too much. One finger at a time, one story at a time, one old blame at a time. Put down the guilt. Put down the need to punish yourself for what you did not know then. Put down the belief that you should have seen everything sooner. Put down the old shame that says one mistake can define an entire life. Put down the fantasy that if you suffer long enough, the past will finally become fair. It will not, darling. Suffering does not rewrite the past. It only steals more of the present. Put down the old dream if it has become a cage. Put down the need to be understood by those who benefit from misunderstanding you. Put down the role of the one who must carry everyone else at the expense of her own soul. Put down the idea that healing means becoming untouched by life. Healing means you were touched, yes, and still you chose to live again. Now take a breath with me. Let your shoulders soften. Let the jaw unclench. Let the belly know it does not have to hold the story for you right now. Imagine, if you like, that you are standing beside a quiet river. In your hands is a heavy stone. On this stone is written one thing you are ready to release. Not everything, just one thing. Perhaps it says, I should have known. Perhaps it says, I was not chosen. Perhaps it says, "It was all my fault." Perhaps it says, "I cannot be happy until I understand." Hold the stone for a moment. Thank it for what it tried to teach you. And then, gently, place it down beside the river. You do not have to throw it. You do not have to hate it. You simply do not have to carry it into every tomorrow. You were never meant to turn yesterday into a permanent home. As you put it down, notice the space that opens in your hands. That space may feel strange at first. When we have carried pain for a long time, lightness can feel unfamiliar. The mind may even reach for the old stone again, because it knows what to do with heaviness. It does not yet know what to do with freedom, so you teach it. You say, "This space is safe." You say, "I can be light and still be wise." You say, "I can release the burden and keep the lesson." You say, "I do not need to suffer to prove that I loved, that I cared, that I was hurt, that it mattered." Let that sink into the body. You do not need to suffer to prove it mattered. It mattered. It hurt. And now you are allowed to heal. There may be days when you pick the stone up again. That is all right. We are not making another rule to break and then blame ourselves for. If you pick it up, notice it. Smile gently if you can. Ah, I am carrying that again. Then put it down again. This is the practice. We return. We soften. We choose. We do not turn one old moment into a whole identity. We do not turn one difficult day into a failed healing. We do not say, "I am back at the beginning" just because a memory visited. You are not back at the beginning. You are remembering with more awareness. You are returning with more love. You are becoming less willing to live in pain just because pain once became familiar. May you remember, my dear, that letting go is not losing yourself. It is finding the part of you that was buried under the burden. Under the grief, there is still tenderness. Under the guilt, there is still innocence. Under the old story, there is still a living soul who wants to breathe, create, laugh, rest, receive, and love again. Put it down. Put down the guilt. Put down the old story. Put down the need to understand everything before you can be free. Life is here now. Love is here now. Your next breath is here now. And this moment is gently asking you to come home. Let it go. Put it down. You were never meant to carry yesterday into every tomorrow. You were meant to learn, to soften, to rise, to open, to bless what taught you, and to walk forward lighter than before. So today, if this message touched your heart, comment, "I put it down today." Share this with someone who has been carrying the past, replaying old pain, or trying to heal while still holding on. And if you are ready to release what is heavy, return to peace, and let life heal you forward, subscribe and listen again tomorrow. Be gentle with yourself, darling. You do not have to carry it another day to prove that it was real. Let go of yesterday before you try to enter today, my dear. Just for a moment, do not carry the whole weight of what happened, what did not happen, what someone said, what you forgot to do, what you still have not fixed, or what the mind already wants to worry about. Before your feet touch the floor, there is a quiet doorway. Most people pass through it unconsciously. They open their eyes, reach for the phone, remember the problem, and let yesterday walk straight into today. But you can choose differently. You can lie there for 1 or 2 soft minutes and say, "No, I will not let fear choose the first thought for me today. I will choose it with love." The first thought of the day is not as small as it seems. It is like opening the front door of your inner house. If the first visitor is panic, panic begins arranging the furniture. If the first visitor is lack, lack starts pointing at everything that is missing. If the first visitor is self-criticism, the mirror becomes uncomfortable before the morning has even begun. But if the first visitor is love, even a small love, the whole room changes. The day may still have work, bills, responsibilities, decisions, and unfinished things, but you are no longer entering it as someone already defeated. You are entering it as someone who remembers that the mind can be guided. In those first waking moments, the subconscious is still soft. The world has not fully pulled you into its noise. Your body is still close to the quiet of sleep. The mind has not yet built the whole story of the day. This is a very beautiful time to plant a thought. Not a forced thought, not a fake thought, just a better thought than the one fear would choose for you. If the mind says, "Another difficult day," you can gently offer, "This day may still hold something good." If the mind says, "There is too much to do," you can answer, "I can take one step at a time." If the mind says, "I am already behind," you can say, "I am here now, and here is where I begin." You are not trying to change your whole life in one morning. That would be too much pressure. You are changing the doorway. That is all. The doorway matters. A person who begins the day with "I am lacking" will walk differently from a person who begins the day with "I am supported." A person who begins the day with "I have to prove myself" will breathe differently from a person who begins the day with "I am already worthy and I can grow from here." The first thought becomes a quiet instruction to the brain. It tells the attention what to look for. It tells the body whether to brace or soften. It tells the heart whether today is a battle or a beginning. You might say very simply, not loudly, not like a performance, just as a gentle opening, "I choose my first thought with love, and my whole day begins to change. Once is enough." Let the words touch the body. Let them be a hand on the shoulder of the mind. You are saying, "Come this way." We do not have to begin in fear. Now, let us be honest about the state of lack, because it can begin so quietly. You wake up and immediately think of the unfinished work, the bill that needs attention, the goal you have not reached, the person who has not replied, the body that does not look the way you want, the money that is not yet enough, the dream that still feels far away. And before you have even thanked your body for carrying you through the night, the mind has already entered the old sentence, "Not enough, not enough time, not enough love, not enough progress, not enough beauty, not enough proof." And the body hears that sentence as danger. Lack makes us chase. We chase money because we believe safety is somewhere outside us and we must run to catch it. We chase love because we believe being chosen will finally make us real. We chase achievement because we believe success will silence the voice that says we are not valuable. We chase approval because we have forgotten how to sit inside our own worth. And the more we chase, the more tired the body becomes. The nervous system stays alert. The heart becomes tight. The mind begins the day not as a friend, but as a commander shouting, "Hurry, hurry, you are not there yet." That is why the first thought matters so much. It is not only a sentence, it is a state of energy. If you begin from lack, the day feels like something to survive. If you begin from love, the day can become something to meet, and love does not mean you have no desires. Love does not mean you stop wanting more money, more health, deeper connection, better work, a more beautiful home, or a fuller life. Love simply says, I will not hate myself on the way there. Love says, I am allowed to grow without treating this moment as an enemy. Love says, I do not begin my day from lack. I begin from love. There is a truth I want you to remember before the world tells you what you are missing. You were not born as a mistake. You were not sent into life as an incomplete problem that must earn the right to exist. Whether you call the source God, universe, life, nature, divine intelligence, or simply the mystery that breathes through all things, you came here with a body, a heart, a mind, a soul, and the ability to grow. You came with breath before you ever achieved anything. You came with value before anyone approved of you. You came as life expressing itself in a way that had never existed before. So much of what we call enough is made by the human mind. Enough money, enough beauty, enough success, enough attention, enough followers, enough productivity, enough being liked. The world draws these lines and then tells us to run toward them. But the lines keep moving. You reach one and another appears. This is why a person can have so much and still wake up feeling poor inside. Lack is not only about what you own, it is about the lens through which you see yourself. Wholeness does not mean you do not want to grow. This is important. Sometimes people think, if I say I am whole, will I become lazy? Will I stop trying? No, darling. A flower is already a flower, and it still blooms. A child is already worthy and still grows. You can be whole and still desire expansion. You can be enough and still welcome more. You can love yourself now and still improve your habits. The difference is that you are no longer growing from the belief that you are defective. You are growing because life inside you wants to express more beauty, more wisdom, more health, more love. Hold this thought gently. I am already whole, and from this wholeness I grow. You do not have to force yourself to believe it perfectly. Let it be a seed. A seed does not become a tree in one morning, but it still carries the whole pattern of the tree within it. You carry the pattern of wholeness within you too. Now let us make the bed, your actual bed, a sacred place for beginning again. I do not mean sacred in a complicated way. I mean let it become the place where you speak to yourself before the world speaks to you. Before the phone, before the messages, before the list, before the old pressure. Lie still for a minute. Feel the blanket. Feel the mattress that held you all night. Feel the breath moving in and out without being asked. This body stayed with you through the darkness. This heart kept beating. This life has given you one more morning. In that small space, change the language. I have to go to work and become, I get to bring value today. I have to take care of my body, can become, I get to love this body that carries me. I have to try again, can become, I get to grow a little more today. This is not pretending every task is easy. It is choosing not to begin with resentment. The words, I have to, often tighten the body. The words, I get to, open a little window. Feel the safety of the moment before you move. The room is here. The bed is here. The breath is here. You are here. You may have things to do, yes, but you do not have to throw yourself into the day like a soldier running into battle. You can enter like someone who is being guided, someone who is allowed to be gentle, someone who can begin again without punishing yesterday's self. My bed becomes a sacred place where I begin again with peace. Let that be the feeling more than the sentence. Tomorrow morning, before the world reaches you, reach yourself first. Give your mind one loving thought. Give your body one breath of safety. Give your heart one reminder that you are not starting from lack. You are starting from life. And life, when met with love in the first moments of the day, begins to show you that even small beginnings can open beautiful doors. Now let us make this very practical, because the morning can become healing when it is simple enough to live. We do not need a complicated ritual that makes you feel guilty by the third day. We do not need a perfect routine with candles, journals, silence, tea, and a whole hour of spiritual discipline before you are allowed to feel good. Sometimes the most powerful shift happens in the first 60 seconds. 1 minute, before the phone, before the old story, before the list of things you must do, before the mind starts gathering yesterday's fears and tomorrow's pressure. In those first 60 seconds, you can give your mind a new direction. The first step is gratitude, and I want you to begin with something very ordinary, the bed. Before you think about work, money, messages, love, the body, the future, or what did not get done yesterday, simply notice what held you. The bed held you through the night. The blanket warmed you. The pillow received the weight of your head. Your body was allowed, at least for a few hours, to stop standing, stop proving, stop performing. So you might say silently, "Thank you, bed, for holding me safely through the night." It may sound almost too simple, but the nervous system understands simple things. Gratitude for what is already here moves the mind out of lack and into support. It says, "Before I chase what is missing, let me notice what has been carrying me. Then smile. Not a big smile, not a fake performance, just a tiny softening around the mouth, a gentle signal to the body that today does not have to begin with war." Sometimes the face is the first place we can show the nervous system that we are safe enough to soften. If the smile feels awkward, let it be awkward. We are not pretending that all problems are solved. We are simply refusing to begin the day with a clenched face and a frightened body. A little smile can say, "Good morning, dear one. We are here. We made it through the night. Let us begin kindly." Then choose an intention, one sentence. Short, clear, easy for the mind to carry. Today, I choose peace. Today, I am guided, supported, and loved. Today, I take one loving step. Today, I do not rush my soul. Today, I let life help me. The intention becomes a track for the mind. You are not trying to control every event. You are simply telling the mind, this is the direction we will return to. When the world becomes loud later, the intention is still there, like a small path through the grass. In the first 60 seconds, you teach your mind where to go. That is the truth of it. If you do not teach it, the old programming will teach it for you. The old programming may say, "Hurry, not enough, you are behind." Check the phone. What if something is wrong? What did they say? What if today is hard? And the body listens. So we lovingly interrupt. Bed, smile, intention. Thank what held you. Soften the face. Give the mind one beautiful direction. Now, your first thought should be a healing thought, but healing thoughts do not need to be long. In fact, when the body is just waking, long, complicated ideas can become too much. Choose something simple enough to breathe with. I am safe now. I can begin again. Peace is available. I am guided. I am enough to begin. Today can be gentle. These thoughts do not need a prize to sound impressive. They need to feel safe. The subconscious receives what is repeated with feeling, not what sounds clever to the conscious mind. A healing thought is different from a pressure thought. Today I must succeed may sound motivating, but underneath it, the body may hear, if I do not succeed, I am not safe. Today I must fix everything may sound responsible, but the nervous system may hear, there is too much and I am already failing. A healing thought is more like, today I am allowed to take one honest step, or I can choose again with love, or I do not need to solve my whole life before breakfast. These sentences make room for movement without panic, and the thought needs to enter the body. This is where many people miss the deeper healing. They repeat words only in the head very quickly, like reading a list, and then wonder why nothing changes. Slow down. Breathe with the sentence. Feel where the body resists it. If you say, I am safe, and the chest is tight, do not force the chest to believe you. Just soften a little and say, in this moment, I am safe enough to breathe. If you say, I am guided, and the stomach is tense, place a hand there and give the body time. The mind may understand words quickly, but the body learns through safety. Your first thought is a seed, and you are choosing to plant peace. A seed does not need to become a tree immediately. Do not dig it up after 10 minutes and say, why am I not transformed yet? Plant it, water it, return to it. Let the first thought become familiar. A thought repeated gently over time becomes a new path. The mind that once ran first to fear begins to remember that peace is also available. Now let us look at the thoughts we do not want to give the first seat of the day. The first one is, I do not have enough time. This thought creates urgency before you have even stood up. It tells the body to rush. Try something else. I have enough time for the next right step. That is much kinder, and it is usually true. You may not have time for everything in one moment, but you have time for the next step. Another thought to avoid is, I have to try again. There is a heaviness in that, as if life is one more burden placed on your shoulders. Let it become, I get to grow gently today. That does not deny effort. It changes the atmosphere around effort. You are not being dragged into growth. You are being invited. Then there is the old thought, I am not good enough. This one has injured so many hearts. If it appears in the morning, do not feed it breakfast. Do not invite it to run the day. You might replace it with, I am enough as I am, and I am open to becoming more. That is a beautiful balance. Enough now, open to growth, no war required. Home nay, chaklai met. Today will probably be exhausting. Be careful with that one. The brain will begin looking for tiredness everywhere. Try. Energy can come to me in simple and loving ways, maybe through water, sunlight, a slower pace, a clear plan, a kind conversation, a few deep breaths. Energy does not always come as a rush. Sometimes it comes as support. I must be chosen by them. This thought places your value outside your body before the day has even begun. Bring it back. I choose myself first today, not in a cold way, in a grounded way. If someone loves you, beautiful. If someone is absent, you are still here. If someone is uncertain, you do not have to become uncertain about yourself. Money is so hard. This thought closes the mind around lack. A softer replacement might be, I am open to receive support, ideas, and abundance. Notice the word ideas. Sometimes abundance first arrives as an idea, a contact, a new skill, a practical step, a better decision. Do not limit support to only one form. And finally, my life never changes. That sentence is a closed door. Do not let it become the first door you walk through. Try, today is a new beginning, and I can choose differently. It does not promise a dramatic miracle by noon. It gives you back choice, and choice is where transformation begins. You do not let old thoughts write your new day. That does not mean old thoughts never appear. They may appear. They have been rehearsed for a long time, but you do not have to sign your name under them. You do not have to say, yes, this is the truth. You can say, an old thought, I know this one. Today I choose another direction. Now, about morning affirmations. Use them like medicine, not noise. You do not need 30 sentences every morning if your mind is overwhelmed. Choose a few that feel clean, simple, supportive. You might say, I am whole, complete, and enough right now. Or, I do not need to chase life. I allow life to support me. If you are feeling frightened, choose safety. I am safe in this moment. My body, mind, and heart are gently supported today. If you are feeling pressured, choose peace. Today begins with peace, not pressure. I choose thoughts that bless my life. If you are practicing receiving, you might use, I am open to receive good in expected and unexpected ways. Life loves me, and I am willing to let beautiful things happen. And if you need action, choose something grounded. I take one loving step at a time. I move through this day with clarity, kindness, and trust. Do not rush through them. One sentence felt deeply is more powerful than 20 sentences repeated while your mind is still panicking. Your morning words become loving instructions for the subconscious mind. Not commands from a harsh teacher, instructions from love. You are saying, this is how we begin now. This is the atmosphere we are building. This is the inner home we are learning to live in. Questions can be even more powerful than affirmations because questions direct attention. If you ask a fearful question, the mind searches for fearful answers. If you ask a healing question, the mind begins looking for support. So in the morning, ask questions that open the day instead of closing it. Ask, how do I want to feel today? This helps you remember that a day is not only a list of tasks, it is also an emotional environment. If you want to feel peaceful, how would you move? If you want to feel clear, what would you remove? If you want to feel loved, how would you speak to yourself? Ask, what good is already available in my life right now? This brings the mind out of lack. It may answer with something small: breath, a bed, water, a chance, a person, a skill, a lesson. Let small be enough. Ask, if I were already enough, how would I act differently today? This question is powerful because so much chasing comes from the belief that you are not enough yet. If you were already enough, would you still over-explain? Would you still rush? Would you still accept less than peace? Would you still speak to your body that way? Ask, how does my body need to be loved today? The body is part of the morning. Do not leave it out. It may need stretching, food, water, rest, sunlight, softness, movement, or simply fewer cruel words. Ask, what is one small thing I can be grateful for before I leave this bed? This brings the nervous system into support before effort begins. Ask, what gentle sentence do I want to give myself today? Maybe it is, I am learning. Maybe I can take my time. Maybe I am allowed to be human. One sentence can become a companion. And ask, what is the next loving step today? Not the whole plan, not the entire future, just the next step. This question calms the overwhelmed mind because it makes life manageable again. A better question creates a better direction for the mind. You are not trying to control every thought. You are choosing better doorways. The mind will walk through the doors you open most often. And now we come to the heart of it. Become the guide of your mind. Your mind is not bad. It worries because it wants to protect you. It remembers pain because it does not want you to be hurt again. It thinks about lack because it learned to be alert. But the mind should not be left alone to drive the whole day from old fear. A child may be frightened of shadows, and we do not hate the child for being frightened. We simply turn on a light and say, let us look together. Talk to your mind like that. Thank you, mind, for trying to protect me. Today we choose peace. That sentence is very tender. It honors the fear without obeying it. It says, I understand you are trying to help, but we are not going to let panic lead today. This is how you become the loving adult inside your own system. Before social media tells you what matters, you choose. Before work pulls you into urgency, you choose. Before old worry wakes up completely, you choose. Today I begin with love. That is leadership. Gentle leadership. You are not forcing the mind into silence. You are giving it a direction. If the mind says, we are behind, you guide it. We begin where we are. If it says, there is not enough, you guide it. Let us notice what is here and take the next step. If it says, something bad may happen, you guide it. If something arises, we will meet it. If it says, we are not enough, you guide it. We are enough to begin, and we are willing to grow. This is the daily practice. Your first thought is where you take back leadership. It is the small throne of attention. Whoever sits there early often influences the whole day. Let love sit there before fear does. Let gratitude sit there before lack does. Let one healing sentence sit there before the world arrives with its noise. You might end the first minute with one quiet inner decision. I lead my mind with love before the world leads it with fear. Let it be enough. You do not need to become perfect today. You only need to begin differently. Thank the bed. Smile softly. Choose an intention. Plant one healing thought. Avoid giving the old thoughts the first seat. Ask a better question. Guide the mind like someone you love, and then step into the day, not as a person trying to control everything, but as a person who has already chosen the inner doorway. The day may still bring its tasks, its surprises, its little tests, its invitations to worry, but you have begun with love, and a day begun with love is already different. Not because everything outside is solved, but because the one living inside you has been welcomed, supported, and gently led. For 7 mornings, give yourself a very simple practice. Do not make it heavy. Do not turn it into another thing you must do perfectly. Let it be soft, like placing one small flower beside your bed each day. The moment you wake up, before you reach for the phone, before you begin the list, before yesterday's worries climb back into your mind, choose one thought, only one. Let it be the first seed you plant in the garden of your day. On the first morning, begin with gratitude. Let your first thought be, thank you, life, for another day. You do not have to feel dramatic gratitude. Just acknowledge that life has opened one more door. On the second morning, begin with safety. Let your first thought be, I am safe and supported today. Let your body hear it gently, especially if it usually wakes up bracing for pressure. On the third morning, begin with wholeness. Say inwardly, I am already whole, and I grow from love. This reminds you that growth does not have to come from self-hatred. You are not fixing a broken person. You are nurturing a living soul. On the fourth morning, begin with receiving. I am open to receive good today. Not only big good, small good too. A kind word, a clear idea, a peaceful moment, a door you did not expect. On the fifth morning, bring love to the body. My body is my friend, and I care for it kindly. Before you criticize the body, thank it. Before you demand from it, listen to it. On the sixth morning, choose peace. Today begins with peace, not pressure. Let that thought slow the rushing mind. One step at a time is enough. And on the seventh morning, begin again. I can choose again, and beautiful things can happen. This is a lovely thought to give the subconscious. It says the past does not get the final word. A new morning can bring a new direction. For 7 mornings, you are teaching your mind a new way to begin, not through force, but through repetition, not through pressure, but through love. And little by little, the first thought of the day becomes a doorway into a softer, safer, more beautiful life.